Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So continuing on the share process here, if I click share, this is what I see, and I want this list to be created by typing something here. Okay, so yep, that's what I want to do, and I want to be able to remove an item just by clicking the close button here. Now, also one thing I need is a replication of this. So let me remove these guys in here. So I just need one of them. That's all I need. So let's leave one. Okay, so if I grab this, actually, let me just real quick here, close it off. I want to see how it looks when it's not there, when it's empty, I mean. Type an email address, and click add. So you can put your own message there that will suit your users, how you think they will understand that. But this add button here should give me access. So let's put an on-click listener here, and let's call it, we're gonna call it action dot I don't know. I think let's create a new object called share. We're gonna say share dot add to add one, and then we're gonna have share dot remove to remove one. So I'm gonna copy this. Here on the close, I'm going to put an on-click listener and say share.remove. Like so. Okay, great. Let me remove that space. Alright, that's good. At least I can add one now. So let's see how that would work. So let's make an object that will access this part here and add this content there. So I'm gonna grab this here, so copy, and we're gonna call it share. So there's mode here. Let me just make sure there is no object called share yet, but var share is equal to that. Okay. All right. Let me make sure there is, because when you make several objects, you may forget. So there's add here. Let's create one called add. Let's create another one called remove. And we need another called refresh so that we can reload whatever items we need there, and this one should receive an object that contains the data. Okay, so we can put a comma there as the final thing. Now to add, we just need to grab the document.query selector. Let's grab that item, don't forget the dot there, and then this is the holder, so I'm gonna call it let holder is equal to, and then I want to create an object. Now what I can do is, let me find this one more time. Now what I can do is just change the inner HTML of this item here, okay, and include this data. So if I include a piece like this one up to here, and then again I say inner HTML is equal to this, inner HTML is equal to that. Actually, this could work by, I need to think about this. Yeah, the problem with using just inner HTML is that it refreshes every piece of data in here. Now, because I want to add inputs in here, so I want to put like an input there of type hidden so that it doesn't show, and then doesn't really matter the name and stuff there. What happens is when I use inner HTML, let's say, let me actually just do this instead of explaining it like so. So I'm going to show you the problem so we can see the solution. So here I can say something like holder.innerHTML plus equals, and then let me put that tilde key like that, the backticks, so that I can do something like this and paste the actual HTML multi-line like that. Okay, so I can put something like this in there, right? If I click add. So let's see how that actually would work. So if I right click and do share and I click add, you see it adds something there, and then I click add again, look at that. So it just keeps adding and adding, which is exactly what I want to do. But let me show you the problem. This is type hidden. Let me put it as type text like that so that it's visible. So right click, share, and then add. So you see this content here. Now if I type something, let's say this had a value of some kind, and then the moment I add another one, you see that value disappear. It's gone, right? I add a third one, those two. So it's going to erase that information because it resets this. Now this is not what I want. I want whatever items already here to maintain their content. So to bypass this thing, we use appendChild instead of changing the entire inner HTML, because at this point, once I do inner HTML, even though I'm concatenating to it, it actually just resets everything. So what I'm going to do instead is use the add instead of inner HTML, I'm going to say appendChild like this. Now in order to append a child, I need a child element, right? So I can't use this text anymore. So I need to create an actual child element. So I'm going to say let, now the child element is the div here. So I'm going to say let div is equal to, is it document we use? I think it's document dot create element, and then give it the name like that. So if I want to create a span, I'll put span here. If it's a table, I'll put table, of course. So that's the tag name of the element you are creating. And then now I can say appendChild div like that. Simple as that. Then I need to add a div. But I need to give it some content. First of all, there's a class here that it has. So in order to give it that, I can use div because it's now an actual element. I can say dot set attribute, and that attribute is called class, and what is its content is this one, like so. So that's how I give it a class like that. So I can put styles, IDs in this very manner, like this. And also I could say div.innerHTML is equal to, and then I can put this, right? So let me grab this and just move it over to that point. Let me remove one equal sign, and let me remove this remaining plus sign. Now the reason this is okay is because I don't care if the content of this one div is reset, right? It's not a problem because I only care about the holder itself if the content is refreshed. So using inner HTML here is fine. However, I'm repeating myself because this div is the one I created here. So let me remove just the main div and just give it this content inside. So just by doing this, we have changed the game. So if I refresh now, right click, share. Now if I click add, I can put some text and add another element and not worry about that information being reset. Right? Great. This is awesome. Okay, now this should be hidden so that we don't see it. So type here will be hidden, and that will be the best outcome. So right click, share, and add. Okay, so content remains, which is great. Now I want to be able to remove any of these by clicking there. So when I click, so I should add an on-click listener to this thing. Oh, the on-click listener is right here, share.remove. So it's already there. Now all I need to do, let me send the event from here, right? I'm gonna say event. So this is going to be usable JavaScript once I add it there. So event gives you the event that created this. Here we'll capture it as E, because once I click there, it's going to run this function here. So I'll capture the event as E. And what I want to do is, the reason I need the event is because I want to grab the parent of this thing. So I can say the current item that was clicked, then grab the parent item, which is this div right here, and then just remove it. So here I can just say, so once I remove this main div, it removes everything with it. So I'm going to say e.current target is the item you actually clicked, right? And then say dot parent node to grab its parent. And then once we grab the parent, we can say dot remove. Yep, like that. Simple as that, but it will be better to ask a question and say confirm. Are you sure you want to remove this email from access? Or you can say, are you sure you want to remove access for this email? I think that makes more sense. Question mark, exclamation point, and then here, if it doesn't work out, we just return. Otherwise we do this. So we'll put a not here to negate this so that we return when the user clicks cancel. So let's refresh and let me click here, share. Let me add one. So if I click there, it says, are you sure you want to remove this? And it does remove. Look at that. So if I add several, click there, remove, click, remove, click, remove. So as you can see, things are working out as intended. So now only the emails that I want to remain in this box, which is great. So now we can add and remove. Now the problem here is we're not adding the emails we want, we're adding a preset email. So we need to change that as well. So when we say add over here, we should be given the email to add. So here on the add, I'll just supply the word email, which I will assume contains the email address we need to add. So I'll copy that and say here instead, right? I'll grab this and say, let me put a $sign there and put email like so. So that will put the email there. And also let me change a value here. I will put email. Let's use the $sign like that. Okay, so that will give it a value. That will give it another value. Very good. Okay, now we should be able to, if we say if email is equal to empty like that, we have to return and move away from this function, but we should give the user a message and say, please type an email address first. Something like that. Okay, so there we go. Now we need to give it that. So here when I say add, okay, I want to add whatever is in this input. So how do I get to grab this input? Well, what I can do is I can grab this item and then grab its parent, and then from there I say grab the input within this parent. So how do I grab this first? This item, I can grab it using the this keyword. And then we can say this.parent node, which is this div, And then for us to find, now you could use just say parent node.children like this and then grab the first child, which will be this one. But this is unstable because if in future you change the order of these things, then you lose that. So the best is to use a query selector. And in that query selector, you just grab any input, the first input you find, which is this one. This is also unstable because if you add 2 inputs in here, then you're in trouble. But at least I think it's more stable because still if I change the order of these, it'll still work. So options. If you want though, you can use query selector and put an actual class on this one so that you target it directly if you want. But that's overkill in this case. So I'm just going to say I just want that input and its value. So .value.trim to remove trailing and leading empty space. Just like that, when I say add, I'm going to pass in whatever value is in here at that time. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to refresh. Let's go over here and click share. If I click add just like that, say please type an email address first. Now I wanted to highlight this part here. So what I'm going to do is instead, it seems I just need to give it a class so I can target it. So just say JS email access. There's actually this one. Let me paste that there. Hope it's not confusing. This one has JS at the beginning, so maybe that's different. Anyway, we can target it directly now. Since we've added a class, why not use it? So we'll put that there instead. And then what I will do is go down here where we are saying please add an email address first, and then grab that item. So I'm going to say document.querySelector. And then wait a minute, there we go, and .focus. All right, that way we can focus on that item. So refresh, let's try again, share, and click add. Nope, but then it's focused. So let's add an email. Let's just say john@email.com, and then click add. Okay, so there we go. And let's add another email. Now we should empty this after adding, I guess, and then focus on that as well. Let's say Mary at email. Okay, so we have Mary there, John. Now the thing is, I want the one I've added to be at the top, right? So let's change a few things. When we add, instead of saying appendChild, I think I can use the insert before. There's another one saying insert before, and then you tell it the item you want to insert before. And what do you do here? So if you say insert before, you need to grab an item and tell it which item to insert before it. So what I'm going to do is grab the holder and get the first child. So holder.children 0, like that. So the first child, I'll insert this div before that one. I'm not sure this is going to work, but hey, let's try it out. We can't really break the computer. Seems to work. So let me put John here and see if John will be at the top. Oh, there we go. It's working wonders. Peter. Very nice. Okay, that way you get to see the one you've added. And here, let's see if I click. That's okay, that's great. So I wanted to remove this, and then now you can vet your email addresses if you want, but that's a little overkill for me. I think I can vet them while clicking the save button. I can do that to check if some email addresses are incorrect. and I think that does it. So I just want to empty this and select it. So to focus on it, we use that code. So let's put it here. And then to empty it, of course, we just say dot value is equal to emptiness. And that does it, right? So let's refresh, try again. Yeah. Now, since we're emptying it, it will always be empty, so that's fine. So let's add that. Peter, Mary at mary.com. There we go. So it's working very well. So now we can add some stuff here, which is good. Now, if share to specific people is selected, then we are going to care what is here, right? Otherwise, we shouldn't. So we're gonna ignore this part. Or maybe we should edit it as well. I'm not even sure anymore if we should or not. Interesting. Okay, let's see here. What to do. Okay, so when we where is this table? Where is the share thing? Where does it happen from? I'm not even sure anymore. Okay, let me find the show share file. Okay, there we go. But then there's this one, share file. So on this one, wait a minute. Where is it? I've lost it. Okay, right here. Where are we? So on this object, I want to grab all email addresses before I can put them here. So I'm going to put this and say grab all email. Grab or share email addresses. Okay, so what I was looking for is this. JS access email input, no. JS access email holder is what I want. So I'm going to say I'm going to call these ones inputs. Okay, so inside the holder here, I want to do a query selector again. So you can bump these together like this. Actually, let me not do that. Wait a minute. Yes, I can do that and put the query selector all, because on this one I want to grab all inputs like this. All right, now here I want to return. I don't want to actually submit. I just want to see what I have. So do console.log and put inputs like that. So I just want to see if it's actually working. So refresh. Let me go to the console. Let's have the console on here. And then I'll close that. Right click, share. Let me just put some random text. It doesn't really matter what I add. I just want to see what happens when I click this. So there's a node list and length is 0. So it's not working. Okay, let me find what this is. Okay, that's correct. Okay, from in there, I do a query selector all of input. Oh, I'm putting an S there. It should be input. Sorry about that. That's the tag name is input for an input. It's not inputs. All right, so let's click share. And there we go. So we have 3 inputs there. and they do have the correct values, so it's working. That's great. And then what I'm going to do now is say for and loop through the inputs that I got. Okay, so here I'm going to say emails. So say let emails is equal to, let's put an empty object. Actually here we can put, what can we put? Can I append to an array? Okay. So here I'm going to say emails dot append. I'm not sure if I can do this. Can I? Actually, let me just do this. Emails I, like this, right? Let's use the I is equal to that input dot value. Okay, and then before I return now, I can do another console.log of emails, just to be sure that I got the emails. So refresh, close that, right click, share. Let me add 1 email, 2 email, 3, 4, 5. And let's do the share. Click share. And as you can see, they are all labeled quite nicely in there, even though they are not real email addresses. So at this point, when you're grabbing the emails, you can validate them and say, this email is invalid, this one is invalid, etc., etc., if you want that. But it's really up to the user. You can do that, no problem. So emails becomes a thing here. It's an item we can add to this. So I will do this. Say obj dot emails is equal to emails. That way we grab the emails together, and once we save, we try to share, we get an extra item called emails. Okay, very good. Now in the database, we will be saving this to share to, right? So what we need, let me go to the structure here. We need to know if the email address already exists. So I'm going to add an index there and to the email as well. So what we do is, let's say this is the first time we're adding emails. So we'll add a bunch of emails and the file ID will be put there as well. Now the next time we remove, let's say we remove an email, or the next time we come back to save information on that file, we're going to check the records and see if whatever, let's say we're editing this particular file, right? What we're going to do is, since we saved this very list of emails, right? And then let's say this time I share the thing, but I don't want to disturb this. I just edited something else and click share. Maybe I change the share mode to share to specific people, right? And I save. Now I haven't added anything new here, but there's some email addresses that will already exist because I added them earlier. So what it's going to do is it's going to look for the file ID that I'm currently editing and then disable every email address in that list. So disable all those records and then go and read one by one. If an email address already exists, if it's here on the list and it also exists in the database, then just enable it. If it doesn't, add a new record. That's what we're going to be doing here. So in order to save these guys, let's go to API. Let's find the share file. There it is. So on this one, wait a minute. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a problem here. the email here, everything else we add here is text, so it makes sense, but this one is an array. So what we're going to do is we're going to stringify it. We're going to say json.stringify. Now what this does is it converts an array to a string. That way we can transfer it properly. So when we come here, emails is going to be equal to a stringified version. So we're going to say emails is equal to post email. Now if this does not exist, let's just put an empty array like that. That's how an empty JSON array is. So let me put emails here. Very good. Okay, so if we have emails here, that's great. We have to convert that back to an array using JSON decode. That's what we need to do. So here we're gonna say decode emails. So we'll say emails is equal to, here we use JSON decode in PHP, and then we say emails. Now if I put true here, it forces the thing to be an array, and that's what I want. I don't need it to be an object. Force convert to array. So once I have emails in there, then I can loop through the emails. Since this is emails, it will be an array now, so I need to add this to the emails section. So what I'm going to do is disable all records Okay, so I'm going to run a query here that will disable all records that already exist. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Yeah, something like that. Oh, my ball mouse is insane. Okay, so I'm going to say update, not my drive, but share to. This is the table we are dealing with now. Share. Wait, is it share or shared to? Wait a second. Shared to. Okay, so there's a D there. Update share to. Set disabled. Is equal to 1 because we are disabling, and then we need a where clause now. Where are we doing this? Where user ID is equal to user ID and ID is equal to ID. So this remains as it is. So let's run that, which disables all records if they exist. Then we can say now add new access records. So here what we need to do is check those that exist already and then do our thing. So we loop through this emails thingy. So I'm going to say for each emails, we don't need the key though, we just need that single email. Now I need to make sure that there are no emails here to disturb things. So let me just move this to the last point as the last thing to happen, so that if I have email as a variable somewhere, it won't matter whether I override it. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is check if the current email I'm on already exists. All right, let's do this. Now the ID here is for the file, so file ID should be equal to this. So here, first of all, let's do a select. So I'm going to do this thing, select all from shared to where the user ID, there's no user ID there. I'm just looking for where the ID is very specific and the email. So let me change that to email. So where email is equal to this email here, and ID is equal to this ID over here, which is the file ID. Now in there we call it file ID, so I'm going to do file underscore ID in that table, limit 1. So here I'm going to say row is equal to. Now query has two versions, right? Is there a query row? Wait a minute, did I make 2 of these? Wait a second. Query. Yeah, query row exists. Okay. So I just want one row. Now, if row is something, then all we need to do is update that email and set its disabled state to 0 so that it's active now, because the record already exists. So here what I'll do is I'm going to say update shared to where, not where, we set disabled is equal to 0, and then we put the where clause. Now where exactly? Now here we just need to set an ID, because we actually have a row here like that. So what I'm gonna do is say I'm gonna leave this out like so, and then put row ID like that. So the ID from whatever row it is here, where ID is equal to ID, limit 1. So, and then if it does not exist, let's create a new record. So here, to create a new record, we have to do an insert. Wait, why is this always... Oh, okay. So share is always an update because the record always exists already, the record of the file. So let me paste that here. Okay, so here instead of we have to insert a new record because it does not exist. So we say insert into shared to, and here we need to give it emails. So we do that, and then we say values, and then we do that. So here I'm looking at the columns I need to deal with. Oh, my mouse is terrible. So file ID and email, those are the two things I need to add. So that's because that's what is in the table. So file ID and email. Disabled will be equal to 0 automatically, but we can also just put it there for good measure. So let me grab this, let me put that there, boom. So file ID, right? The file ID is this current ID we have there. So I'm gonna grab this. That is indeed the file ID. So put there. The email is this email here. So all I need to do is do that. Yes. And disabled, we want it as the number 0 because we don't want to insert a disabled value. Okay, and this does it. Actually, this saves the day. So if I save now, I should see this happening. So let me try share. Okay, so I need to refresh my page. Then let me try and share with specific people. I'll try this image and go share. Let me add, here I want to add actual emails. I'll just say email 1, email 2, and email 3. And then hit save. So I'll select share to specific people and hit save. Didn't seem to change anything. Let me see in the console if there are any errors. And indeed there are. So let's go to the table. Let's see if we saved something. We did not. Okay, so fatal error, which means it stopped executing. Unknown column user ID in the where clause on line 37. Okay, so it's talking about the function here because that's where the query thingy is. But let's look at the stack trace and see exactly where this originated from. It's in API 113. So where is 113? Here. So update share to set disabled is equal to 1, where, okay, so my bad, this is wrong. Disable emails. We want to disable all emails where the file ID is equal to that ID. Okay, so let's do another test. Let me delete what's in the console and let's try again. Share. So that's still there, and let's hit save. Please wait via the complete Z for upload to complete. Right. So that's a bug right there. Anyway, email 1, email 2, email 3, and share. So I've shared this one, but oh, I didn't change the share mode. So, but as you can see, I did save things properly. Yeah. Now, if I right click on a different file and try to share, you see I still have these guys. So this is where the refresh function should come in, right? So when I'm reading files, I should also read the share content. So let me go to select blah 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 blah. Okay, so let me grab this part here. Wait, actually just this part here, copy. So let me go for the get files section. So once I get a file, there's this part where I loop through the file to add new content. This is the part right here. So as I'm adding this, I should also add rows from the, let me put this here, get shared to data. Okay, so we can do this. Now we don't want to get one row from here, we want to query. I'm gonna say emails, that's what I'm gonna call it. I'll put here. So query is equal to selector from shared to where, just the file ID. We just want all that have our file ID. So let me see here. If this is a row, then inside row there is an ID there. So I'm gonna say row ID like that. So I don't put the quotes in here because it's inside a quote already. So that works just fine. So here what I will add is emails. So I'm gonna grab this, put it here. So I'm gonna say emails is equal to whatever I got from emails. Now the thing is, this may come back as false, or it may come back as an array. So I just need to check if it's empty. So if it's empty, like this, then question mark. If it's empty, what I'm going to save instead is an empty array. Wait. Yes, that's an empty array. That makes sense. And then full colon. If it's not empty, then I set the emails itself. Now the thing is, I want this to be a string. So I'm going to use JSON encode to do that. So that converts the array into a string or a JSON string. This is how an empty JSON string, if the array is empty, this is how it would look like. So that's why I'm putting this here as a default value, so that when we convert it on the other side, it converts to an empty array instead of just the value false. That way we can loop through an empty array as well, just as equally as we can do a full array. So here we have rows, email, great. Wait, where was that other part where we were grabbing files from? Okay, it's the other side, the preview side, which we don't need this thing. Okay, so that's great. Now when I reload this file, emails should be equal to something, right? So if I go back to the index page here, I want to make sure that I get that part. So let me go to where I right click and do the show share to. So I'm going to do show shared file. So when we load this, we actually grab information from the current item, right, which comes in through the rows value of table. So in here we should have something called emails, right? So I'm going to grab this, and it should be a JSON string, right? So just at the bottom here, I'm just going to say alert, and then go to emails like that. Okay, so for now we're just alerting ourselves to the data in there. So I'm just going to refresh. Now, of course, these guys do not have that data. So, but why don't I get the array? The alert, sorry. Should be an error somewhere. Okay, so there we go. Emails is not defined. Is it? Rows. Ah, right. I need that ID there. Sorry about that. Oops. Oh, this mouse is painful. Jesus. Okay, so in here I need to put ID. Oh God. And then dot email. That's how I should have done it, just like I did with these other guys here. So let's close that and let's refresh. So right click on this, which I know is empty, and it shows an empty bracket, which is correct. That's how an empty array would look. But if I share these, you see I see my emails in there. There's email 3. Wait, there's just one value. There's just one object here. Why? Okay, let's go back to our API. Let's see, what did we do wrong? Oh, there's limit 1 here. Okay, so let's remove that limit 1. It should get as many rows as it needs. Let's refresh. Let's try again. Share. So there's nothing there. How about on this one? Yep, there are 3 emails on this one, which is great, right? If I try this one where I know there are no, very good. So now we just need to refresh by putting those emails back here. So we can do that by just looping through it. So right about where we say show whatever, show share, let me find it. Why can't I find it? Good God. What is oh, it's not in here. Okay. I have to go to the index page, right? So right about here, I want to populate this. Yeah, I'm showing it here. But anyway, I can populate it from here. That's fine. So instead of this alert, what I'm going to do is say share.refresh, right? And then give it the emails in there. Simple and straightforward. So share file, show share files. And there's a part where wait, show share file? No. There's a part where I actually create on the add. So okay, let me go to share object. It's at the top. Okay, so that's the share. Now when we share there, we are adding, when we click add, we're adding a very specific email, right? So all we need to do in the refresh is just to call the add and then give it an email, and then it will add for us what we need, right? So let's try that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say, so there's this object being sent through here, but it's in form of text. So what I'm gonna do is, let's say, let rows, I'm going to call it rows, is equal to JSON.parse. This is how you convert in JavaScript. There it's JSON encode in PHP. Here it's JSON.parse. So when I parse the object, it becomes an array of rows now. All right. So I can now loop through, can say for rows.length, and then for each row, I just want to grab the email. Oh, something else I forgot here. When I'm grabbing these from get files, right? When I'm grabbing these guys, the query here, it's where file ID is equal to that. We should add and disabled is equal to 0. That's important, so that we grab only the non-disabled emails. So here I'm going to say rows I, which is the current row, and I just want to grab the email column. That's it. So here I'm going to say dot email to get that particular email that I want, and I just want to send that email to the share.refresh function. So I'm going to say share. Oh, I already am in the share.refresh. So it's share.add function, which adds whenever you give it an email. And that should do. I think this should solve the problem. But let's see if it works as intended, right? So I'm going to right click and share. And as you can see, I can see those emails there. Very good. If I now right click here, so you see there's a problem here. I'm not adding any new ones, but the old ones exist. If I refresh this and start with one that doesn't have any, I won't see any. But if I go to one that I know has some emails, I'll see some, but once they're there, it doesn't remove them. So the refresh thing should actually empty the content. So how do we empty the container? So we're going to grab the whole container, which is this holder, and empty it. So we're just going to use a simple inner HTML because we don't care about refreshing. Let's just empty it. All right. So let's grab that. Let's try again. So I'm going to start with this one that has some, and then go to this one that doesn't, and there we go. So it always starts from scratch. Good. This one has some shared emails. So the process is working as intended. Here, if I don't, let's say I remove email 1, or let's say remove email 2, right? So I'm going to click that to remove email 2. Then I'm going to say share to specific people just to change that as well. But I want only these to remain. So when I hit save, it changes to share to specific people. That's right. But then if I try again, oh wait, let's see if it disabled the right things here. No, it did not. So that thing was not disabled. But why? Why? Oh, why? This is weird. Okay, let me go back to when I saved this share file, right? So this is the part that disables all. So set disabled is equal to 1, where file ID is equal to ID. So just here, I'm gonna die like that. I just want to see if it actually disables everything here. So right click, refresh, share. Let me not remove anything. I just save like that, and I should find everything disabled. So only one was disabled, and why? I think there's a limit 1 there, which is my Achilles heel. So don't limit 1 there. Why did I even add that? Update drive, share, where? Wait. Okay, that's fine. Save share mode. Okay, I think that solves the problem. All right, so right click again, share, and let me remove number 2. It should work this time. Save. So if I now right click and try to view this again, oh my god, it doesn't have what I want. Okay, why is this one disabled but still shows up here? Okay, right click. Okay, it's not showing up now. Why, oh why? Let's do this. Let me remove that. Let's try one more time again and hit save. Okay, so number 3 is disabled, but why? Okay, let me not disable any. So number 3 wasn't here for real, so maybe it works. Let's share. Let me remove number 2, not number 3, and hit share. Let's come back here. Let's see if number 2, okay, so it's correct. But when I show this again, oh, it actually worked. Look at that. Okay, so let me add email 2. Let's refresh. Okay, so it's showing now. Let me close that. Let me save, and I want to get back. Okay, so it's working as intended now. So let me remove some more. And remove that, and remove that. Save. So now it should have nothing. And it does. Now, if you look here, it hasn't added any new records. It's just disabled all of them. And then if I try now to enable, if I put in back the same email address, like email 1, it won't actually add a new record to save space. It will just enable the one that already exists, as it has done there. So that's efficiency right there. And as you can see, there it is. If I go here, this is another one. Let me see this one. Does it still have that? Great. So now we are able to put email addresses here that have access. The only thing remaining now is when we preview a file like this, it should actually check to see the share mode and then decide what to do with that information, how to limit access. So once we are done with that, then we're actually done with this lesson here. Everything we could do here, I think we have done. So that will probably be the end of the whole tutorial, unless I've missed something. Alrighty then, so go back to my drive here. Wait a second. When I open this and click my drive, it should go back to its 0 mode here. What's in here? Let's see. This.id. Oh, it doesn't give us the... Wait. Mode.set, my drive. Or it just sets the mode. It doesn't... How different is it with this? I want to get this result. Change folder by ID. Oh, I see. That's one thing I forgot. So let me go to the my drive part and change folder by ID. Let's go to the index here. Let's do that. My drive. This is the part here I'm looking for, not the breadcrumbs, but I want this here. Oops. Okay, still let me copy that. Where is this? This is on the breadcrumbs. Okay, I want to find this my drive somewhere. On the title, I think. Yeah, there's this mod.set. And then let's put a semicolon and then add on click. I'll copy that and undo and paste it here. So table change so that it refreshes back. So if I refresh like this and go to another folder, when I click here, I want it to reset back to the page 1. So that's happening here now. Okay. All right. So looking good so far. The only thing remaining is the access thing, and we can call it a complete tutorial. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.